Hi, good morning. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm George, and today I'm going to be answering a question about how to travel light when you travel abroad to paint plein air. So if you're going to go to another country and you want to do some landscape paintings, how you can make it very efficient so that all your stuff can fit into hand luggage, so you don't need to pay extra to the airline to carry more bags. And also that means when you're out and about walking around in the heat, your bag's going to be nice and light because you aren't carrying an excess of stuff. And one thing I really like to do when I'm traveling is, instead of bringing a whole load of wooden panels, which I often like to paint on, I'll just bring two wooden panels, light plywood panels, and then I'll bring a roll of canvas, or in this case a few sort of canvas offcuts that I've just cut with some scissors, and a roll of good quality tape. So I am going to put links to all of these things here in the description. I'm just going to give you a quick demonstration of how I do this. So here we've got my Alla Prima art carrier, and I'll talk a bit about that in a bit, but basically it's a nice way of carrying your wet paintings. And here I've got a plywood panel, and I did actually prime this so that I could paint directly onto the wood, but because I'm only bringing two panels with me, I don't want to fill my whole rucksack with a whole load of wooden boards, because one, I wouldn't be able to fit anything else into it, and also it's going to get quite heavy. So the nice thing about a roll of canvas is it's light, and you can fit that really easily into your rucksack. And likewise, if you've already pre-cut the canvases, again, you can fit them into your rucksack really easily. So these ones I've just cut to the exact size of the board. And then let's open this tape. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to tape this to the wooden board. And if at some point you do sell the painting, I'll just take the canvas off the board that I've taped it to, and the framers I use, they will actually cut it down really nicely, stick it to a light panel and put it in a frame. Or you could even do that yourself and stick it to a panel. So one thing about doing this is that you will actually have to buy some scissors after you've arrived in the destination country, because if you're bringing just hand luggage, you won't be allowed to carry scissors on the plane. I think if you do pay for a cold bag under the plane, you can probably put scissors in there. But for me, I like just to travel with hand luggage because it's cheaper, it's more convenient. Also, I don't need to get to the airport and check in a hold bag. So I bought the scissors upon arrival here in Portugal. And then here, I'm actually not sticking it right to the very end. I'm just going to stick this down on this side here. And the surface that I'm painting on here is an oil primed Belgian linen canvas. So it's quite a high quality canvas. But this one is quite sort of stiff and sturdy. So one thing I do to make certain that it's nice and smooth on the panel, so it's not sort of bumping up, is once I've stuck one side down, I'll just take a small bit of tape and I'll hold it and I'll stretch it just like I'm stretching a canvas. So I'll put it as tight as I can, and then I'll just tape it to the board. So that sort of holds it there. And then I'll do the same thing at the top. Again, just a small bit of tape. I'll put it down like that. And then I'll pull it tight and then stick that down. And this tape I'm using is really strong, so it's not going to peel off. And even if I get caught in the rain, which is very unlikely here in the Algarve this time of the year, this tape, it won't sort of disintegrate and fall off. I can't remember the exact name of the tape, but I know it's the sort of tape that framers use when they stick a painting in the back of a frame. So I'll put a link in the description so you can get the exact same tape if you're going to do it this way. And then again, I can just do the same thing there. So the canvas is nice and taut and smooth. And now I'm just going to do the same thing I did on this side on the other sides as well. And again, I'm not taping it right to the very end because it's not necessary, and I don't want a big lump of tape at the end, as later I'll show you how I transport these, and you don't need an excess of tape. And here I'm just sort of doing it by eye, but I'm trying to make it quite straight. And again, sticking it down, and then we can just fold it around the back like that. And now we just do it at the other ends. And the really nice thing about this is once I finish the painting, I can then peel it off, leave it somewhere in my accommodation to dry, whilst I do the same thing with another panel. Another nice thing about this brown tape is that when you're painting and you start to fill in the panel, it won't throw your values off. Sometimes if you have a white light bit of tape or a different colored tape, it can be a bit distracting actually when you're analyzing the color mixes that you put down onto the panel. So there we go. The canvas is taped nice and flat onto the board. Therefore I can use this, I can paint on it, and when I want to paint on another bit of canvas, I can just peel this one off, stick one down. So I can bring lots of pieces of canvas. So I could be painting, say, for a month in another country, and all I need to bring is enough canvas and only 2 boards. And the great thing about carrying these is using an Alla Prima art carrier, which is my own invention. I'll take this apart so you can see it. If you've been following my channel, I've probably already told you about this before. This was a painting I was doing last night. I'm going to go back and try and finish it because the sun set as I was painting. But it's basically just 2 strips of plastic with slots. You can just slide your painters into the corner, just like so. And then I can do the same thing with my other panel, and imagine that's wet paint. I'm just going to slide it in, and then this nice space between the panels will mean they won't touch each other, and it will give the paint a bit of space to dry without getting smudged. And then you can stand it up like this, and providing the panels are the same size, you can carry pretty much any size painting because this is an elasticated strap. So if they were wider, we could just adjust it so it could wrap around some wider paintings. Or again, if they're narrower, you can make this strap even tighter so that it will hold them nice and snugly. And then clip it together like that. Shoulder strap just goes like this, and then you're carrying your paintings nice and safely back from your painting location. So that's the way I like to use my panels when I'm painting, when I'm traveling, so I can travel nice and light, fit all my stuff in hand luggage, and still have space in my rucksack for other things. I'll just speak very briefly about paints and stuff like that. You can carry oil paint on the plane in hand luggage, it's fine, but your tubes have to be under 100 millimeters, at least that's the rules in the UK, and they may also limit you to a small clear plastic bag. So I would say just bring your most important paints. And again, if you arrive in the destination country and you want to get some more colors, you can buy even more. Some airlines, they let you bring, a few clear plastic bags. Some are quite strict, so definitely check that before you fly. Another thing which you will need, which you can't take on the plane, is some sort of solvent, mixing medium, turpentine, something like that. So you can bring linseed oil on the plane, again, if it's in a small container. But often what I'll do is when I arrive in the destination country, I'll visit an art shop and I'll just buy a small artist medium solvent that I can mix the paints, and I'll probably have finished it when it's time to travel back to England. So this is the way I keep all my stuff in hand luggage, and I can travel nice and light when I paint. It saves me money, it saves me time, and it will save you money in the future. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please let me know in the comments, give me a thumbs up, and do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate it. Take care.